myself. First of all, thank you for the opportunity, James. Although we don't have many live participants this time, but it's beautiful to be in Pondicherry at any moment of year or time. So I feel really blessed for this opportunity. And Namah for organizing the events again and again, many workshops, very relevant and pertinent ones. For all the people who are here, for the technical helps that we have, Prabhu, Uttam and Mani. And so the topic that we are touching is ease in disease cannot be found without us getting aware of who we truly are. So let us do a very short meditation, if that's okay with everyone. And if you can switch your video on, because it would be nice to see if people are not sleeping. Just kidding. So if you can put your video on, it would be really good. It would be nice to see the faces also. It doesn't matter whether you have taken a bath or not. Just show up. That would be nice. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Yeah, whoever can comfortably show up would be really good to see you. Thank you so much, everyone. So let us do a short meditation trip, if one can say. And I would just pick up the threads from where Manoj left, talking about rest. So how to rest? And resting is, Mother has said that if we know how to rest well, as Manoj was pointing at, we really can heal ourselves. But we don't know how to rest. So let us close our eyes, if it's okay with everyone. And we close our eyes usually because it gives us less of outer stimulus, kind of brings us within. So let's close our eyes and take 3 deep and long and slow breaths as you want, inhaling from the nose and exhaling from the mouth. Just settling in yourself. Now for this 5 minutes, we are just going to cling to our breath. Anything may happen in thoughts, feelings, some disturbance may happen, but I would not leave my breath, becoming conscious of our breathing. Just the natural rhythm of breathing. Know that I am breathing. And a thought may come, but I will come back to the breathing again. A judgment may come, past memory may come, but I would not leave the breath. And this breathing is happening 24/7, unconsciously. So I am knowing the breathing happening. In between, a thought comes, and I know that a thought is there. And I come back to the breath. Being okay, consciously breathing. Now, why we cling to breath is not that there is something special with the breath, although there is. But when we become aware of breathing, which is the first step, I know that there is something in me which is noticing the breathing. I am the consciousness which knows the breathing. I am the consciousness that knows a bodily sensation. I am the consciousness that knows a thought or a feeling or a past memory. I know that I am breathing. So who am I? I am the knowing. I am the knowing that knows the breathing, thoughts, sensations, and the feelings. And this is what we also call as consciousness. So this is how we rest. I become first aware of the breathing, and then I rest as awareness itself. Then I rest as the knowing itself, or the consciousness itself. And stretch it for as long as you can, in whatever capacity you can. Knowing yourself as the knowing, or being conscious of being conscious. Just that. So this is how we stretch it and rest. Usually we are resting in thoughts. That's not rest. This is just to give us a small glimpse of what is possible, how we can rest. And it's also correcting a case of mistaken identity, because when I am lost in my thoughts and feelings, I don't know who I am. But when I know myself as the knowing of thoughts and feelings, then I know who I am. And in that there is no suffering. So, just to give you a short glimpse, you can do it at home. You can open your eyes whenever you feel comfortable. At home, you want to do it. And this is something which I've been personally experimenting with, and that's why I was sharing it with you. To rest as consciousness, to rest as the knowing, and not to rest as the thought or a feeling or a sensation. And this is also can be termed as detachment. In other words, when I enter this hall, we are having this program in society hall. I enter this from outside, and the very first moment that I enter, what I notice is the chairs, the tables, people here. I don't not notice the space. When we go into somebody's place, which is beautiful house somebody has made, we never say that, oh, what a beautiful space you have. We say, oh, what a beautiful bed or a chair or a TV or whatever. And that is how, when we look at our own being, we fail to notice this empty, nirgun consciousness because it doesn't have any property per se. We notice the thoughts that are there, we notice the feelings that are there. Okay, I am feeling sad, I am feeling sorrowful today, I am feeling pained today. So the whole focus goes on to the content of consciousness. And I miss the space, which is consciousness itself. And when I miss the space, I miss myself. And most of us are missing ourselves. Virtually all of us, we don't know who am I. And we keep on missing. So what we do is we get addicted. So I meet a person and meeting with the person feels very nice. And usually I don't have that nice feeling with me. And when I leave the person, I remember the person, the feeling that I had with that person. Oh wow, it was so nice. And we all want to feel nice. And we become addicted to the person or a drug or a substance, or we are addicted to our thoughts, all of us. My opinions, my ideas. Why? Because I just don't know how to be with myself. So when we talk of disease and coming back to ease, we cannot miss that we have to correct our mistaken identity. I am not the thought. I am the knowing with I know the thought. I am not the chair or the table. I am the space which holds and allows the chair and the table. And when I say chair and table, it's equivalent to thoughts, feelings, ideas, beliefs. So if I can, instead of attending to all the time this perpetual flow of thoughts, feelings, sensations, if I can put my attention to the empty space or knowing that knows what's going on and not focus on the content, we connect with our intuitive knowing. So the right action takes place. It's not that I become passive. So if I am not engaging in active thought, it does not mean that I am not acting. Sri Aurobindo wrote Savitri, and he says that it's not from a thought space that I wrote Savitri. Somebody asked him that, what do you think, and something like that, and he said that thinking, oh, that I have left far ago, long ago. So he's working from the intuitive and even the higher planes which are accessible to our human mind. But that can only happen if I correct the mistaken identity. So when there is an impulse of anger rising up in me, or an impulse of jealousy rising up in me, and if I can become conscious, oh, here is anger, here is jealousy, and I am the knowing of anger and jealousy, immediately you can disconnect from that vicious flow of thoughts. Immediately. But this requires practice. It's almost a paradox that to come back to ourselves we require practice. Although we are never away from it. Now, when we look at a room, you're all in some space, right? So can you say that a chair is disconnected from the space? It's because of the space that chair is. But since the space it's not out loud, it's not very pompous. It says, okay, you want to ignore me, you ignore me. So that's how the psychic being is. It's happy being ignored. Purusha, Supreme Purusha, he said that I surrender to Prakriti. I'm happy being ignored. Now that too has a purpose in terms of human evolution, which we will not go today deeper into. But in Savitri also, Sri Aurobindo says that this has to end. We have to wake up to ourselves. Not only in Savitri, all the masters have said, wake up to who you truly are. Now, what did Kabir in his couplets? He says again and again, jaag sake to jaag. Now I can say, oh, I'm awake. I can see all of you. Why am I sleeping? Why do you say I'm sleeping? So I am sleeping when I am not knowing myself as consciousness. I am sleeping when I am lost in thoughts. I am sleeping when I am lost in senses, sense perceptions, and not knowing myself as the knowing of what I see. So yesterday I was meeting a couple of friends and they smoke weed, and when I was discussing with them, I could see a lot of judgments and opinions arising in me. And it was, for me, although it brought me a lot of sadness of what we are and what we can be, because there was a lot of good heart that I could see in those people, but still addictions are there, and we all are addicted. I may be addicted to my thoughts, that's also addiction. So I could see there the judgment rising, the opinions rising. When I see this rising, can I know myself as the knowing of judgment? Because in that I can relate with the other person at a human level, at a very grounded level, and not become opinionated and look how superior I am, and look, we do this. This categorization happens by itself. We don't have to put effort. Where we have to put effort is to know ourselves as the knowing. That's the supreme ease or sahajta. So I cannot correct my disease if I don't correct the case of mistaken identity. No one can. No one has been able to. I may follow a particular diet, a vegan diet full of healthy organic nutrients. And if I'm still clinging to my thoughts, attached very strongly, rigidly to my thoughts, I'm as bad as anyone else. Buddha said attachment is the cause of suffering. And it's not only attachment to people in our life. I'm attached to my thoughts. I'm attached to my feelings. I don't know who am I if not for the thought of feelings. And there are a few masters alive nowadays who are, along with words of Mother and Sri Aurobindo. Personally, I have been very, very benefited by listening to Rupert Spira, a master who again and again corrects this case of mistaken identity. Know yourself as awareness, know yourself as consciousness. And Tenzin Palmo, she's also a Buddhist teacher and a person who again and again puts the focus back on the track. That it's not my business to fix others, it's my business to correct my case of mistaken identity. And you see the change, we see the change, that it helps us become lighter. Because when I am the space, I can let the chairs come in and let the chairs go out. I am not the chair. So life becomes a bit easier. And when life becomes a bit easier, diseases have no point to stay. And this ease is when I am off center, when I don't know who I am. And coming out of my own experience of going through cancer also, because I never somehow thankfully took cancer as an enemy or something came to kind of harm me, thankfully by the grace of divine. It always appeared something like, okay, let me see what it is here to tell me. And cancer told me that I was taking myself too seriously, taking my thoughts and opinions and roles that I play in this life too seriously. I am a mother, I am a wife, I am a daughter-in-law, taking them too seriously, clinging to them, and knock on the door, hey, correct your case. And if I can correct them, the case, listening to the knock, whether it's pain or suffering or any kind, whether it's emotional pain, mental suffering, whether it's a relationship challenge that I am facing, if I can use that as my progress to correct the case of mistaken identity, to let go of whatever I am clinging to, it's not worth it. I think things really change for good. Ease dawns in. And even if physical disease may be there, now I don't know whether I may enter into remission of cancer anytime. Who knows? It's body, so many forces working. But at least the life that I have while I'm alive, it's a lighter one. So I'm not burdened all the time and half dead, half alive. Because death can strike any time. Now people who are absolutely healthy, they may not have cancer. One trip and gone. And one may say that, oh, I just met that person 5 minutes ago, but he's not there anymore. So we are so fragile. Masters have compared us with pani ka bulbula, a bubble, soap bubble on a water kind of a surface, tuck and gone. When people in our life pass away, or we lose our loved ones, it appears so surreal. Oh my God, the person was here right now, and now he's not there. Where is he gone? So we are also like that. We are very fragile, and it's almost like a prayer that can we take this call and make the choice of correcting the case of mistaken identity, knowing ourselves as consciousness. Because if I know myself as the table or the chair or the computer or the laptop, that is all fleeting. It will break down. Now, we had a breakdown, the second day of the session. We can't help it. And when I know myself as the space, that's absolute freedom. Nothing can happen to space. Nothing at all. And chairs will come and go, the bodies will come and go. I'll take more and more that the running is important. I cannot convince anyone to stop running. So if one has not ran enough, if I feel that running to that place or coming to Pondicherry or Auroville will give me peace, go to Pondicherry and Auroville and see that non-peace can exist anywhere. Stepping out from Mother Samadhi, there are people standing there. I can be next to the Samadhi with absolute full of jealousy, anger, resentment against people. So the outer place has an effect. Definitely it has a charged effect. But unless I correct within, I cannot reach anywhere. And living in Alipur jail, Sri Aurobindo has darshan of Shri Krishna. Not in any ashram, and he says Alipur jail has his own ashram. That was my ashram. So we can be a mobile ashram. We go anywhere and we do not leave the clinging to our breath, and hence coming back to our knowingly knowing ourselves as consciousness and detaching from clinging, excessive clinging to our thoughts, ideas and opinions, which really take us down, such down that we enter depression and we commit suicides. It can become really very serious. The solidity that we give to thoughts. So whenever something is rising, you become uneasy. How I use it is that the moment I become uneasy, I ask myself, okay, what am I clinging to right now? And in that moment, I check and I see that I am clinging to some or the other opinion in my head. I'm clinging to some or the other thought which is making me uneasy. Drop it. Stay with your breath. Know yourself as the knowing of that opinion. And it's okay to be nobody. It's okay to be wrong. We don't have to prove or explain ourselves to anyone. Because in proving, we drain a lot of energy. So it's absolute inner freedom to not prove ourselves right to anyone at all, not to even our own selves. And to just do our work, which is clinging to ourselves as consciousness, knowing ourselves as consciousness. Mother says here, there's this new magazine, All India magazine that has come. She says, a vast majority of humanity is unconscious. And then she explains what she means by unconsciousness. not consciously in contact with consciousness. I am consciousness all the time, but I don't know that I am. I am a king all the time, but I live like a beggar. So what's the point of all the treasure? So she's saying that to correct, to become consciously consciousness. Now, when we see a thought, when I see a feeling, I see the thought, I see the feeling, I notice the content. So all the time, 24/7, I am consciousness. That's how I know a thought. That's how I know a feeling. But I don't know myself as consciousness. So this thing, I believe, have to be, and that is the effort we have to put. That is what we call tapasya and sadhana. That again and again, the sway of external situations is so heavy. And when I call external situations, our thoughts and feelings are also external. So the body sensations are also external. Only consciousness is intimate and internal. So the moment a thought comes, I immediately lose the consciousness. I'm not knowing myself as consciousness. I'm lost in the thought, the forest of thought, as Kabir says. And I'm stuck and I'm entangled. Disease enters in my life. So can we take this charge, one can say responsibility, of whenever I sense a sense of discomfort or unease within myself, I will notice what am I clinging to right now. And it's not a very difficult game. Mother says that the whole process is traveling from desire soul to the true soul. What are the properties of desire soul? It is sticky in nature, like honey. It sticks to everything. So, am I sticking to a person today? Am I sticking to my own opinion today? Am I sticking to a judgment about somebody I love, or I don't know, maybe hate? Am I sticking to my own opinion of myself? And the moment I become aware of this sticking, I can say, I am not that opinion. Know myself as the knowing of that opinion. And we step into the true soul immediately. It can happen immediately. We don't need very long. In one moment, either I am the desire soul or I am the true soul. Every moment we have this choice. We don't have to wait for eternity for this transformation to happen. In one moment, if I'm clinging, I am the desire soul. Ego, the limited conceptual mind. And in one moment, when I see the clinging and know myself as the seeing of the clinging, I am the true self. And we don't need to be a scholar in order to do this. I may not have read any word of Mother and Sri Aurobindo, and I may be practicing living from the true self, unaware of it. Yesterday, I think there was a lady here. We have photos of Mother and Sri Aurobindo here, and she was an Amma. Maybe she lives on streets, what appeared like. And she came very silently, had 3 flowers in hand, and she kept the flowers, did her pranam, and went away, very joyous. Now, devotion, bhakti, selflessness, having faith in something higher than us. It doesn't need any, and with the appearance, she did not appear to be an educated or a literate person. So with more knowledge, there is also a tendency in us to become more rigid, solid in our ideas. Kabir says, "Pothi pad pad jag mua, pandit bhaya na koi, dhai aakhar prem ke pade su pandit hoye." So he says, you read so much of literature, scriptures, books all around, but I don't call you a true scholar until you get a little bit of spark of love. Psychic being is love. Love for my own self, kindness for my own self, and kindness for whoever I meet, kindness for my so-called enemies and people who are in opposition to me. It's quite simple. We don't have to make it so complicated. So coming back to ease is not complicated. It does not require many methods or tools. Just pick whatever resonates with you. And I think we have to stick to it. Need a discipline. So if I am now knowing myself as more and more consciousness, I am making a promise to myself that every day for 5 minutes, every 4 hours, I will sit. Sitting is required in the beginning and later on also. I'll sit and know myself as the knowing of whatever goes on in me. 5 minutes, 3 times a day. But don't lose that wherever you are. Pondicherry, Auroville, Delhi, Gurgaon, doesn't matter. We can do it traveling also. But if I do it only once, 1 hour I sat for 1 day and for the rest of the 7 days I have no idea, then there is no chance. So we need to put effort in if we really want ease and well-being in our life. And ease and well-being, as other speakers also have shared, cannot be gotten, no matter how healthy a diet I may be having, if I'm not correcting the case of mistaken identity. I have to know who I truly am. It's something which is my birthright. I am the king. I don't have to live like a beggar. We are all the kings. So let me just read something before I open for discussion. Yeah, another something from Kabir. He says, "Pani mein mean pyasi." He says, "A fish in the water is thirsty." Now that's our delusion. We are dripping wet in consciousness, and we are all looking. And he's laughing. Kabir says, "I laugh at it." That 24/7 you are dripping wet of the divine consciousness, because that's how you see a thought or feeling. How you see, because you have that scene, but you miss the scene and you are thirsty. So he says, "Pani mein mean pyasi," a fish in the water is thirsty, and I laugh at it. So Kabir may laugh, but we cry. So let me read something from Savitri here. Again, this is from the All India magazine, which I just picked up from where I'm staying here. Page number 53, Savitri. Those of us who want to close our eyes and listen may do that. The outward and the immediate are our feeling. The dead past is our background and support. Mind keeps the soul prisoner. When we say mind, it's thoughts. You need to know that. Mind keeps the soul prisoner. We are slaves to our acts. We cannot free our gaze to reach wisdom's sun. And why we cannot free? Because I'm all the time entangled with thoughts. Inheritor of the brief animal mind, man, still a child in nature's mighty hands. In the succession of the moments lives, to a changing present is his narrow right. When I live as thought or feeling, I'm limited to every moment, very narrow limit. His memory stares back at a phantom past, a past which is not solid. I give it a solidity when I think about it. To a changing present is his narrow right. His memory stares back at a phantom past. The future flees before him as he moves. I keep on missing every opportunity, being in the thought. The future flees before him as he moves. He sees imagined garments, not a face. And the imagined garments are, one way of saying it is my opinions, images, thoughts, perceptions through senses. Armed with a limited, precarious strength, he saves his fruits of work from adverse chance. So whatever name or fame I have collected, may it not go away. We try to save it. A struggling in ignorance is his wisdom's name. He waits to see the consequence of his acts. He waits to weigh the certitude of his thoughts. He knows not what he shall achieve or when. He knows not whether at last he shall survive or end like the mastodon and the sloth and perish from the earth where he was the king. He is ignorant of the meaning of his life. He is ignorant of his high and splendid fate. And when he says he, just translated to me, I am ignorant of the meaning of my life. I am ignorant of my own high and splendid fate. And I think it's our responsibility now to wake up to our treasure and stop living like a beggar when we can live as a king. Our high splendid fate. And it's not in far-fetched future that it's going to arrive. It's every moment that I have the choice. Whether to live from the sticky self, the desire self, or whether to see the sticky character and to know myself as the seen and to live from that consciousness. And that's where ease lies, that's where well-being lies. Whether I might be physically in pain or not. Many masters have been physically in pain, but they have not been suffering. So, yeah, there are many things which we can talk, but I think this is enough. And Sri Aurobindo also says, cast away thought from thee, cast away the sense, the veil of sense. We have to continually cast away the thought, cling to the breath, know myself as the awareness of the breath. One way of doing it. So I'll pause here and take up reflections or some additions anyone wants to share. Yeah, anything from here?
Yeah, so if I may ask a question, this is Shailendra Mehta. Yeah, hi.
Yeah, hi Shailendra.
Yeah, so I also put this up in the chat, but my question is, where do thoughts come from?
And would you like to say something on it? Or you're expecting an answer from me?
All I can say is that I don't think I create my thoughts. My experience is very clearly that that the thoughts come, right? That's how all of us feel, at least that's how I feel. So I do not know, and it's also clear that they are triggered by some things, right? That the environment triggers thoughts, the inner state triggers thoughts. So it's very clear that thoughts are conditional and conditioned. It's not that I'm freely thinking my thoughts. Thoughts are triggered. So that is the second observation that I can make. But beyond that, I'm unable to make any observations, partly because my own thoughts or my own awareness is not clear enough. So would you like to shed some light on it as to is it possible to really be in control of our thoughts, in the sense to be able to direct our thoughts and so on? Because there are, I don't want to raise that topic, but it's not even clear to me that we have any autonomy in the matter. So how do we become autonomous in terms of our thoughts? You briefly touched upon the fact that Sri Aurobindo talks about going beyond the level of thoughts to the level of intuition and accessing thoughts directly from there. So that is all I can possibly say, and I would love to get your guidance on how to think about, well, I don't know, maybe I'm chasing, this is a dog chasing its tail, how to think about it more deeply.
So you are right, Shailendra. I think it's a beautiful observation that we don't have a choice with the thoughts. They just come and we are lost in it. And everyone has a thought pattern. Each one has a unique thought pattern. And Sri Aurobindo in Savitri says that we are stuck in grooves, like a CD moves in grooves, it cannot help but move in grooves. And we are also stuck in grooves of those thought patterns, tendencies, which are coming from lifetimes of us being here. That's what we call vikaras or samskaras. Samskaras, yes. So it's a beautiful observation in itself to know that I am stuck in thought patterns and I have no choice. I have no freedom. That itself is a baby step, I would say, ahead for me. And to see that I will say that I am a free individual, but I am not free. Hence, since because I am not free in thoughts, I don't have a power there as for now. Mother and Sri Aurobindo have really touched this in detail. There is a little compilation called Powers Within by A.S. Dalal. I don't know if you're aware of that.
I'm aware of it. Yes.
Are you aware?
Yes.
Yes. So in Powers Within, Mother shares the power of thought and the power of imagination. But I cannot use it as a power unless I am used by it as tendencies or patterns. And that's what we are trying to do here with our whatever little practice that we are doing at individual level, to become aware that I am stuck in patterns, hence to detach from it, to touch the level of knowingly knowing myself as consciousness. And hence, whenever a pattern appears, I am not a puppet to it, rather than I can step back from the pattern. So this is one step. And Mother says that you can exercise power of thought. We may have a little bit of choice here, although I understand what you are saying. We don't have really much choice. They just come. And where they come from, it would be better if we read directly Mother and Sri Aurobindo's words. Mother shares that, for example, you catch yourself getting stuck in a thought pattern, right? The moment you become conscious of it, so for example, see a person is sitting in front of you and the thoughts that you see in yourself is, that's a bad person, he did not do good to me last time. And the moment you see this pattern, you change it. That's what Mother suggests. Mother says that if you have to think because you can't help, she's talking about us, since we are addictively, compulsively thinking all the time, she says turn it around. So if you notice yourself getting stuck in a negative loop, how can you turn it around? Say about that person will become a good person. There is a higher power that is operating. I don't know about the ways of the higher power,